Have you ever eaten something healthy your whole life, only to find out years later it may be doing more harm than good, especially after 60? That's what shocked Harold, a retired school teacher from Oregon, when his doctor suggested that one of his favorite vegetables could be aggravating his joint pain. He wasn't alone. More and more seniors across North America and Europe are now discovering that certain healthy vegetables can quietly inflame joints, accelerate stiffness, and even contribute to loss of mobility. In this episode of Elderly Reflections, we'll reveal 3 vegetables that may silently damage your joints after 60. We're not here to scare you, but to empower you with real stories, medical research, and practical guidance. And more importantly, we'll also introduce safer, energizing alternatives to help you feel stronger, reduce inflammation, and protect your independence. Because at this stage in life, every meal matters. Stay with us through the end of the video, because the last vegetable on this list is one that's found in most kitchens. Yet few seniors know the damage it may be causing daily. And before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell icon. That way, you'll never miss any elderly wisdom, senior health tips, or powerful life lessons from the elderly that we share every week. Harold had eaten tomatoes his entire life. They were in his salads, his pasta, his soups. Every Sunday, his wife made a rich marinara sauce that simmered for hours, full of ripe tomatoes and herbs. He believed, like most people, that tomatoes were one of the healthiest things on his plate. But at 68, something began to change. He started waking up with stiff fingers. His knees ached walking up the porch stairs. His shoulders felt sore even after light gardening. He thought maybe it was just aging, arthritis creeping in like an old enemy. But his daughter, a nutritionist from Vancouver, saw the signs differently. One day, she asked him gently, "Dad, have you ever tried removing tomatoes from your meals?" He chuckled. "Tomatoes? That's healthy food." But out of curiosity, he gave it a try. 3 weeks later, something remarkable happened. The stiffness was gone. He was waking up easier, walking smoother, and even his energy felt different. "I didn't realize how inflamed I'd been," Harold said. "I thought that was just normal after 60. What Harold discovered is something more seniors are now learning. The vegetables we trust most may not always trust us back. See, tomatoes belong to a family of vegetables called nightshades, which also includes potatoes, eggplants, and peppers. These vegetables contain a natural compound called solanine. While harmless to most people in small amounts, solanine can trigger inflammation in some seniors, especially those with arthritis, autoimmune issues, or sensitive digestive systems. The symptoms aren't always obvious. It can start with mild morning stiffness, random flare-ups, or just the sense that your body feels heavy more often than it used to. Medical studies have started catching up with what older people like Harold have learned through experience. In 2010, a study published in the Journal of Inflammation Research showed that 74% of patients with joint pain saw improvements after removing nightshades from their diet for 3 months. The improvement didn't come from a new medication, but from eliminating a trigger hiding in plain sight. But solanine isn't the only issue with tomatoes. They're also highly acidic. And for aging digestive systems, especially after 60, that acidity can damage the gut lining, disturb nutrient absorption, and worsen conditions like acid reflux or gastritis. Inflammation often begins in the gut. Once your intestinal lining is compromised, your immune system starts to react, not just locally, but throughout the body. Joints, especially, can become the unexpected battlefield. Lorraine, a 73-year-old retired dance instructor from Arizona, had a similar story. She was strong, active, and walked 3 miles a day. But over time, she began to feel pain in her wrists. Simple things like brushing her teeth or pouring coffee became difficult. Her doctor gave her anti-inflammatory meds, but they barely helped. Then she stumbled upon an online group for seniors following anti-inflammatory diets. Over and over, she saw the same comment: "Try cutting out tomatoes." She rolled her eyes but decided to try it. 30 days later, her pain had eased. She could open jars again. She could type emails without wincing. "I had no idea tomatoes were the issue," she said, "but my joints knew before I did." Now, you might be thinking, do I really have to give up tomatoes forever? Not necessarily, but it helps to know how they affect you, especially as your body changes. The truth is, many of the worst offenders aren't just fresh tomatoes. They're the concentrated forms we eat every day without realizing it. Think about tomato paste, pizza sauce, ketchup, and canned soups. These processed versions are often more acidic, higher in additives, and more likely to trigger discomfort. Plus, canned tomatoes can contain metal residue from the lining, which further irritates digestion. For seniors already managing weakened bones, reduced cartilage, or slower healing, this kind of hidden inflammation adds up. What you eat every day matters more after 60 than it ever did before. So, what do you eat instead? Thankfully, there are simple swaps that can protect your joints and keep your meals satisfying. One option is cooked carrots blended with olive oil, garlic, and herbs. The flavor is naturally sweet and rich, and carrots are packed with beta-carotene, a powerful antioxidant that supports joint health. Marta, 69, from Wisconsin, now uses carrot puree in place of tomato sauce for her pasta. "It's not the same," she admits, "but I feel better. No more heartburn, no more swollen fingers in the morning." Another favorite among seniors is roasted beet puree. Beets are great for circulation and contain anti-inflammatory compounds that help reduce joint stiffness. Edna, 76, from Glasgow, shared how she switched from tomato soups to beet-based stews. "I didn't expect it to help," she said, "but my knees haven't felt this free in years." Some even find relief with roasted red bell peppers. While technically a nightshade, red peppers contain less solanine than tomatoes, especially when peeled and cooked thoroughly. They're high in vitamin C and can be blended into a flavorful, gentle sauce for those who still want color and depth on their plate without the inflammation. What's important to remember is this: you're not just eating for taste anymore. After 60, every ingredient is either helping your joints or hurting them. And even though tomatoes were once a symbol of health, for many seniors, they're now a hidden source of fatigue, stiffness, and frustration. As Harold said, "It wasn't that I was getting older, it was that my food wasn't aging with me." In the next part of this video, we'll explore another popular vegetable, this one often praised for its high fiber, but secretly known to cause bloating, fatigue, and flare-ups in older adults. And we'll share Ruth's story, an 80-year-old who found her energy again by cutting it out. If this video has helped you or reminded you of someone you love, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss an episode. And most of all, comment below, where are you watching from? Your stories, your wisdom, and your elderly reflections help us all grow stronger together. When we were younger, we were told to eat our vegetables, to clean our plates, to fill half our meals with greens, to trust that if it came from the ground, it was good for us. And for a long time, that advice served us well. But after 60, the story starts to shift. Not because vegetables suddenly become bad, but because our bodies, slower, more sensitive, more vulnerable to inflammation, start speaking a different language. One we can't afford to ignore. Today, let's talk about two vegetables that, despite being praised by nutritionists and doctors for decades, are now raising red flags for many seniors across the US, Canada, and Europe. The first is broccoli, the second is eggplant. Both are nutrient-dense, both are loaded with vitamins, and yet both have been linked to digestive distress, inflammation, and joint pain in people over 60. Let's begin with broccoli. It's the poster child of health, full of fiber, calcium, vitamin K, vitamin C, and cancer-fighting compounds. But for Ruth, an 80-year-old former piano teacher from Vermont, broccoli was the beginning of a decline she couldn't explain. Ruth had always eaten clean. She walked daily. She kept her brain sharp with puzzles and classical music. But in her late 70s, she noticed a change. Her stomach often felt swollen after meals. Her knees ached when she got up. She had trouble sleeping through the night. Her doctor tested her for arthritis, thyroid issues, and heart problems, but the results all came back normal. "Maybe it's just old age," he said with a shrug. But Ruth's grandson, a certified health coach, had another idea. He asked her to keep a food journal. "Write down everything you eat and how you feel after," he said. "We might see a pattern." Within 2 weeks, the pattern was clear. Every time Ruth ate broccoli or other cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower or kale, her symptoms flared up. She was shocked. "I've eaten broccoli for 40 years, she said. "I thought it was helping me." What Ruth didn't know is that broccoli belongs to the cruciferous family, which contains compounds called glucosinolates. When broken down, these release sulfur-containing substances that require strong stomach acid and a healthy digestive tract to process properly. But after 60, stomach acid production drops dramatically. The result? Food sits in the gut longer, ferments, and creates gas. That gas doesn't just make you uncomfortable, it creates pressure and irritation, which can increase inflammation throughout the body, especially in vulnerable joints. According to a 2017 study in Clinical Interventions in Aging, seniors who consumed high amounts of cruciferous vegetables without proper enzyme support reported higher rates of bloating, fatigue, and even mental fog. The inflammation doesn't stay in the gut. It travels, often landing in the knees, hips, and hands. But Ruth didn't stop at observation. She made changes. She replaced broccoli with cooked zucchini, mashed carrots, and soft sautéed spinach with olive oil and lemon. Within 10 days, her bloating eased, her energy returned, and most importantly, her knees stopped throbbing in the morning. "It wasn't just what I ate," she told us. "It was how my body was asking for something gentler." Now let's talk about eggplant. Rich, glossy, flavorful, especially when roasted, it's a favorite in Mediterranean cuisine and plant-based diets. It's low in calories, high in fiber, and packed with antioxidants. But like tomatoes, eggplant belongs to the nightshade family, which means it contains a compound called solanine. Solanine is a natural pesticide the plant produces to protect itself from insects. In small doses, most healthy people tolerate it just fine. But for seniors with arthritis, autoimmune disease, or a sensitive nervous system, solanine can act as a neurotoxin and inflammation trigger. And its effects are subtle, not a dramatic allergic reaction, but a slow, creeping return of joint stiffness, fatigue, or nerve sensitivity that we often blame on just aging. George, 75, from Ohio, learned this the hard way. A retired auto mechanic with big working hands and a proud history of manual labor, George had been struggling with wrist pain for nearly 2 years. It was mild at first. A dull ache after using a screwdriver. A little stiffness when he opened a pickle jar. Then came the swelling, followed by sharp burning sensations that made simple tasks unbearable. His doctor told him it was early-stage arthritis. "You're lucky it's not worse," the doctor said. "Just manage the pain." But George wasn't ready to settle for pain management. One day, watching a senior health program much like this one, he heard a sentence that stopped him cold. "Nightshades may increase joint pain in older adults." He leaned forward. The host listed tomatoes, peppers, potatoes, and eggplants. George's face fell. He had eggplant 3 times a week, in dips, sandwiches, even in his favorite Sunday roast. He removed eggplant from his diet that very day. And in 3 weeks, his wrists felt different. Lighter, less pressure. The burning sensation vanished. "I didn't realize how bad I felt until I started feeling good again," he said. So, what makes eggplant such a troublemaker? Aside from solanine, eggplants also contain oxalates, a type of plant compound that may contribute to joint crystal formation, particularly in people with kidney issues or calcium imbalance. These crystals can trigger inflammation, particularly in smaller joints like fingers and toes, where many seniors first notice discomfort. Eggplant is also often consumed roasted or grilled with oil, which enhances flavor, but also makes it easy to overeat. And the more you eat, the more solanine and oxalates build up in your system, especially if your body has trouble flushing them out due to slowed kidney function. So, what can you eat instead? George replaced his beloved eggplant with roasted carrots, sautéed mushrooms, and even grilled zucchini slices seasoned with rosemary. "I still get that smoky, savory flavor," he said, "but my hands don't pay the price." And for Ruth, cutting broccoli didn't mean giving up greens. She now eats cooked spinach, green beans, and soft lettuces like butterhead and romaine. "I still eat well," she said. "I just eat what agrees with me now." That's the key. After 60, eating isn't about restriction. It's about wisdom. Elderly wisdom. It's about listening to what your body tolerates and making peace with the fact that what worked for you at 40 might not be working anymore. Your gut changes, your joints change, your immune system shifts, and your food choices need to evolve along with them. So if you're feeling unexplained fatigue, bloating, stiffness, or foggy mornings, try a simple experiment. Cut out cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and nightshades like eggplant for 2 to 3 weeks. Track your symptoms in a notebook. You don't need a lab test to notice change. Your body is the test. In the final part of this video, we'll move into solutions. What can you do if you've already been dealing with joint pain for years? What foods help rebuild joint tissue? What simple habits can seniors adopt to protect their independence and mobility into their 70s, 80s, even 90s? You'll hear the story of Dorothy, 78, who turned her life around. Not by changing everything, but by changing one evening habit that gave her her mornings back. If this content is helpful to you, or reminds you of someone you care about, please take a second to click the like button, subscribe to Elderly Reflections, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next video. And we'd love to hear your voice in the comments. Have you ever had to give up a healthy food because it no longer served you? What vegetable surprised you? And tell us, where are you watching from? Because when seniors share their stories, their experiences become someone else's turning point. That's the power of this community. That's the power of elderly wisdom. Now that you've discovered all 8 of the most collagen-boosting fruits nature has to offer, kiwi, pineapple, papaya, guava, blackberry, blueberry, strawberry, and amla, the next question is simple but powerful. How do I make this part of my life? Because knowing what works is only the first step. The transformation begins when knowledge turns into habit. In this final part, we'll walk through a practical daily routine designed specifically for seniors over 60. A simple, sustainable way to regenerate collagen, reduce swelling, and feel strong again, one bite at a time. We'll also explore how to enhance nutrient absorption, how to layer anti-inflammatory habits with collagen-boosting fruits, and what surprising lifestyle tweaks can help your joints feel younger, even decades later. Because healing isn't a one-time event, it's a rhythm. And today, we create your rhythm of recovery. True change for seniors rarely starts with extremes. It starts with awareness, followed by small, consistent choices that ease the body into healing. Dorothy is a perfect example of that. At 78, Dorothy had accepted joint pain as part of growing older. A retired nurse from Yorkshire, she kept a tidy home and a sharp mind, but her mornings were increasingly difficult. Her knees resisted bending, her back was stiff until noon, and her hands often refused to cooperate with her knitting needles. She thought this was just the cost of aging. One evening, her grandson, who works as a physical therapist, suggested a small change. He encouraged her to finish dinner by 7 p.m., drink turmeric tea before bed, and do 5 minutes of gentle stretching every night. Dorothy hesitated at first. She had her routine, and it was hard to imagine altering something she had followed for decades. But after a little convincing, she gave it a try. Within 2 weeks, her mornings began to shift. Her joints felt looser. She could bend to tie her shoes. She even returned to her knitting, something she had quietly given up. She later told us, "I thought I needed more medication, but really, I just needed less inflammation and a few quiet moments each night." Dorothy's experience highlights what science is now confirming. Joint pain in seniors isn't always permanent damage. Often, it's a mix of chronic low-grade inflammation, poor hydration, tight muscles, and an overwhelmed digestive system. Once these triggers are removed or eased, the body often responds positively, even in our 70s or 80s. So, what can you do starting today to feel stronger and more mobile? First, focus on nourishing foods that actively support joint health. Omega-3 rich fish like wild salmon or sardines help reduce joint swelling and stiffness. Extra virgin olive oil, a staple in Mediterranean diets, is known to ease arthritis symptoms. Roots like turmeric and ginger, especially when brewed as tea or used in cooking, help calm inflammation at the cellular level. Cooked leafy greens such as spinach or collards provide essential minerals, and berries like blueberries or strawberries offer antioxidants that protect joint tissue from wear and tear. Second, don't underestimate the power of water. Many seniors drink too little, often because they don't feel as thirsty or worry about frequent trips to the bathroom. But hydration is critical for cartilage health. Dorothy told us that once she increased her water intake, her fingers stopped making popping sounds every time she opened a jar. Her joints felt less dry and brittle. Third, movement is essential, but it must be gentle and consistent. This isn't about intense workouts or long walks on hard pavement. It's about water exercises, short strolls on soft ground, stretching routines before bed, or even simple chair yoga. The goal is to keep your joints fluid and your circulation strong without creating new strain. Fourth, take care of your gut. Seniors often forget that joint pain can begin in the stomach. When your digestion is off, whether from gas, bloating, or irregularity, your immune system becomes stressed. That stress doesn't stay in your belly. It moves through your bloodstream and finds weak spots, often your joints. A healthy gut can mean a more peaceful body. To support digestion, add probiotics like yogurt or kefir, try fermented vegetables in small amounts, and favor cooked over raw foods to reduce digestive stress. Lastly, create a space for calm in your day. Stress raises cortisol, which increases inflammation. Find 5 to 10 minutes daily for quiet, whether it's breathing slowly by the window, listening to soft music, journaling, or praying. Peace of mind often leads to peace in the body. George once told us, "Sometimes sitting quietly for 10 minutes with no noise does more for my joints than anything on my plate." The most important thing to remember is that you are not stuck. You are not too old to feel better. Even if you've lived with pain for years, change is still possible. Not by overhauling your entire life, but by taking one step at a time. That's the wisdom we hear again and again from people in their 70s, 80s, even 90s. They say, "I thought it was over, but then I made one change, and it opened the door to a better life." This is what Elderly Reflections is all about. Not just identifying problems, but sharing simple, proven ways to move toward healing. It's about giving seniors back their power through knowledge, through stories, and through small decisions made with care. The truth is, aging is not a slow decline. It's a powerful transition. And when we begin to listen to our bodies, adjust our habits, and honor the wisdom we've gained through years of living, healing often follows. Harold, Ruth, George, and Dorothy didn't find relief through miracle cures. They found it through awareness, small shifts, and the willingness to try something new, even in their 70s and 80s. If there's one message to take with you today, it's this: feeling stiff, tired, or inflamed doesn't have to be your new normal. You can feel better, you can move better, and you absolutely deserve to wake up with energy, confidence, and comfort at any age. So now it's your turn to reflect. Have you made a small change that helped your joints or digestion? Was there a food you once trusted that ended up working against you? And most of all, we'd love to know, where are you watching from today? If this video has helped you in any way, please give it a like. It tells the algorithm that content for seniors matters. Subscribe to Elderly Reflections so you won't miss future stories, senior health tips, and timeless wisdom from people just like you. And hit the notification bell so each new episode finds its way to you the moment it's ready. Because your story isn't over. You're not done learning. and the world still needs your voice. We'll see you in the next video.